Well, hello there, motherfuckers. So, Johnny D, I did see your request about the top 10 bad gimmicks, characters that still have more personality today. But I'm going to need a bit more time to kind of think that one out. Who exactly I want to put on the list. It's a good idea, but I'm just going to need a little bit more time. So, I came up with something else. The top 10 things that are killing WWE. I think I did this one already, but it was like a year or two ago. So it's time to update the list because, not a lot has changed, but, enough has changed to warrant the new list. At number 10, 3 hour Raws. Does anybody realize that we're in the fifth year of 3 hour Raws? The fact that we've had to sit here for fucking 3 hours watching complete garbage, most of us, like myself, out of habit. Many people watching it because they genuinely enjoy it or forcing themselves to enjoy it. Other people, so a little bit like myself, so they can make reviews on here to entertain people. Um, but like for me, mostly it's a little bit of both the reviews and watching it out of habit. It's a little bit of both. But 3 hour Raws, it doesn't even matter if this is a good show. When you think about 3 hour Raws, 3 hours is acceptable for a sports game, and perhaps that may be one of the reasons why they thought of this. But it made no sense because when Nitro went 3 hours, it was a bad move. So why did they think all the shit they talk about in the network? Oh, WCW really fucked up. Okay, well, you're fucking up with 3 hour Raws. I understand that they get a little bit extra revenue, but it also leads to a decline in ratings. So there's, kind of a balancing act there that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess they benefit from it from the advertisers, or else they wouldn't be keeping it around. But then again, there's a lot of stupid decisions they make on the very show itself based on the content that don't make a lot of sense. So there, so that right there, I don't get. So 3 hour Raws, knock that shit back down to 2 hours. 2 hours is when you had the biggest ratings of all time. The show was 2 hours for years and years and years. And even if it was a bad show, you didn't really feel like you wasted as much time. You still feel like you wasted time, but not as much time when it's fucking 3 hours long. That's longer than most movies. It is longer than like basically all movies, unless that movie is like The Godfather or Lawrence of fucking Arabia. At number 9, wrestlers going backwards. Roman Reigns beating The Undertaker, beating John Cena, beating almost everybody there is to beat. Then they put him in the Shield. Oh, he's improving at his promos. I've said this 1,000 times. I'm not going to retread this again because I'm probably going to end up saying it more and more. I can't help myself. Also, wrestlers winning secondary titles. I don't get it. Why is this? Roman Reigns wins the US title after winning the world title. AJ wins the world title, then he wins the US title. Wrestlers selling for secondary belts. Why would they be pursuing secondary belts? I mentioned this. The only time I saw a wrestler winning a secondary belt was when Triple H was in the Power Trip, and he only won it was to accentuate the point that him and Stone Cold were taking over the WWE and winning all the titles. Kane comes to mind, but that's because he didn't win a title for a while. When he won the Intercontinental in 2001, and he won it from Triple H, by the way. But that was like, that's when it was way better. And Jericho was still winning multiple Intercontinental titles after being the first ever undisputed champion. But once again, that happened like after he won the world title, and they didn't give him a belt for a while. And they were dropping him down the card a bit, to be honest. But you could see these examples are very few and far between. Cena, not until much later in his career, would win a U.S. title. You didn't see, Batista never had a secondary title, but you see the point. Nobody ever went backwards in WWE, hardly anybody, until now. Now you have these guys. Dean Ambrose was another one. The Miz is another one, but again, somebody, years after winning the world title. Characters never progress forward, and this is why nobody is taken seriously as a serious main eventer. Because we're being told by giving them these secondary titles, they failed as being world champions. And in many ways, they have. And it's not their fault, it's creative's fault. Not giving them enough to do after their title reigns, and not doing enough with them during their title reigns. At number 8, wrestlers are going nowhere on the card. This is probably why Neville walked out. I get it. I was all for putting the title on Enzo, but why was Neville removed from the picture? What was this bullshit? Oh, he was going to be in the main event. You already introduced Kalisto into the fray when Kurt Angle did that whole huge introduction, and we thought some fucking superstar was going to come out like Rey Mysterio. It was such an extravagant introduction, but it turned out to just be Kalisto. You're telling me that they were going to give Neville a big time opportunity? He was just going to go job in that main event. But this was a guy that had all the tools. He had the body of a fucking gladiator. He was short, but he had personality to make up for it. And, you just look at a guy like that, and you're like, he's going nowhere. Titus O'Neil, I said it time and time again, all the charisma in the world, the body, the look, everything, the speaking ability. And he's going nowhere. Apollo Crews, he takes him under his wing. They're going nowhere. Week after week, they're just wrestling Elias Sampson. Another guy, going nowhere. He's got a guitar. He plays some songs, but is he going anywhere on the card? No. In fact, I think since Elias Sampson has been out there, has he really even had a regular wrestling match on a pay-per-view? I don't even think so. And by the way, why am I not even fucking wearing my title during this video? I just fucking noticed that. There we go. Right at home, baby. Kind of weird I started the fucking video without the belt. At number 7, too formulaic and very formulaic. And this should maybe even be number 1. As I've said, review after review, rant after rant, promo, match. Nothing's different. We barely get anything happening backstage. And if it is backstage, it's right in front of the fucking Raw logo. This interview's got to take place right here. You hear me? Right fucking here. And you're not allowed to move around or anything like that. No, don't cut a promo in the parking lot. Don't cut a promo in a different spot in the building. We always see promos in the same fucking spot. Oh, Brad, there was promos in front of the Raw logo in the Attitude Era. Yeah, there was. Once in a while, but it wasn't all the time. A lot of times they would switch it up and move it around to give you a breath of fresh air. And also, if you notice, the big stars like Roman Reigns and even Cena, one appearance per show. They might have a match later on in the night, but that promo is going to set up the match. You don't see wrestlers interacting backstage like you used to. You don't see any surprises. A lot of times you don't even see wrestlers even getting receipts. Like when someone beats them up on the show, they don't even come out at the end to get, revenge on that person. Like with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar gets his ass kicked by Braun Strowman a few weeks ago, leading up to their match at No Mercy. and then later on in the night, Strowman comes out to attack somebody, and then you don't even see. Oh yeah, it was to a match with Cena, I think, and you didn't even see Brock Lesnar coming out to beat him up, to exact revenge for what he did to him earlier in the night. And you look at it, and seriously, that's some serious booking problems, some serious creative problems. It makes the wrestlers look weak. It makes them look stupid because you're not writing them as tough guys. You're not writing them to play the proper roles that they're supposed to be playing. At number 6, killing people's heat. So they did it to Enzo, which was probably the greatest example. Killing people's runs, killing people's popularity. The biggest example was probably Zack Ryder back in 2012 when they just pretty much fucking stomped on that guy. Oh, you think you could get yourself over with an internet show? You think you could get people to cheer you at live events across the country? We'll give you a little push, but then we're going to smack your ass fucking down. It was probably one of the most disturbing displays. And I don't usually give shout-outs to Smarks, but Wrestling with Regret actually put out a good video on this. I just watched it today, which kind of also inspired this part on the list to do this little rant. I've talked about this a number of times about Zack Ryder, and that it was painstaking of just, not just like being a huge, oh my God, fan of him. I was a fan of him, but the thing is, it's also the way how they did it. How they made Cena kiss him in front of his girlfriend, the way they threw him off the stage, putting him in a neck brace, making him look pathetic and weak. And it was like a way of like, sometimes WWE are assholes, and I get a kick out of it. I love sometimes when they do troll the fans, which is well deserved. But that was trolling that was just uncalled for and very humiliating to a guy that was trying very hard to get himself over because creative sure as hell wasn't doing a good job of it. So they bury people like Charlotte buried. Naomi, a lot of the women getting buried on this fucking show. And you see these guys, they're just not doing a good job of when they finally give these people a title or a push, they can't maintain anything, which also goes back to my point about wrestlers going backwards. This is kind of almost the same exact idea. Number 5, miscasting wrestlers. I am sorry, but if you want to make fuckboy Balor a demon, don't have him fucking talk. The guy's not a tough guy, and he sure as fuck ain't a demon. Because he's been a very fucking talkative demon on Raw. Has anybody noticed that he's cutting long, drawn-out promos? I understand they're trying to give this guy opportunities to cut promos, but here's the deal here. This is not exactly like fuckboy Balor was Prince Devitt, right? Or Prince Devitt, however the fuck you said his fucking name. This guy has been in wrestling for over 15 fucking years, I think, right? Pretty fucking close to it, just like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. There's no excuse why these guys shouldn't be at the top of their game. They've been in the business for 15 years and still can't cut a fucking promo worth a fucking damn. Does anybody even think about that for 2 seconds? You're putting these guys over. What a great wrestler. Oh, okay, really? Besides the kicks and fucking stomps like a fucking 3-year-old, I don't see anything so great in ring about Finn Balor. He doesn't sell. He doesn't do anything believable. His finisher looks like fucking horse shit. Looks fucking dumb. Like I said, he looks like a fucking toddler having a fucking temper tantrum. But you would think after those 15 long years, those 15 fucking long years, that he would learn how to fucking put a promo together. Instead of looking down at the floor at his lines, you would think that Maybe after fucking 15 fucking years, that maybe the guy would know how to cut a fucking promo. So you've got a lot of these guys. Dean Ambrose, he's a crazy man. He's a lunatic, but he don't even do anything that crazy. So again, another miscast wrestler. You could look around and you could see wrestlers that are portraying characters or not even portraying characters, or they're trying to have personalities that just don't fit. It's kind of like Roman Reigns. They wanted him to be this big baby face, but it was, that wasn't working for him. But they were forcing him into it. John Cena, they were, during 2010 and such, they were making him a big baby face, bright colors. Oh, Smoopy Doopy Fooky Mook Moo. Whatever the fuck those stupid ass promos that he was saying to like compensate for curse words. You remember when he was doing that dumbass shit? They were casting him as a fucking fruitcake is what it was. So you have all these examples of creative telling wrestlers to do shit that's not even consistent with who they are. Back in the day, they would sit down with these wrestlers and find out who they were so they would be able to portray characters and it wouldn't be like fucking trying to pull teeth. It would be like natural. These guys would use their natural personalities to get these characters over, but they're stuck playing characters that don't work for them. Once in a while you hit on something. The Usos are allowed to be themselves. It's working, but you also look at like Big E, and you look at this guy who's jacked to the fucking gills. And I'm watching him on SmackDown, not doing a fucking thing, and he's eating fucking cereal out of a fucking box that they charge $15 for online, and I'm like, this guy got his ass kicked into Hell in a Cell, and instead of like doing something fresh and new, like attacking his tag partners and going heel, he's on SmackDown, partying it up backstage, doing some stupid ass dumb skit. Not wrestlers not looking the part at number 4. You look once again at Fuckboy Balor. Even without the paint, you still got a small guy wearing paint. Sami Zayn. I praise the guy for his promo on SmackDown, but you take a look at him. And it's almost like Vince Russo said, who is going to be scared of this guy? It's the same thing with Kevin Owens. Look at him. He's a fat boy. Who's going to be scared of him? It's the same thing with Samoa Joe. You look at Samoa Joe and all you want to do is give the guy a fucking purple nurple. A fucking purple nurple because the guy's got fucking titties. Man titties. I mean, holy shit. I mean, you've got a bunch of these wrestlers that like are not in shape. Kevin Owens a fat boy. Samoa Joe's a fat boy. Sami Zayn doesn't have any muscle definition to speak of. I mean, what the fuck is going on here? All these wrestlers not looking the fucking part, looking like a bunch of fuck boys, basically. And nobody is getting over here. They're not attracting anybody. People might be flipping the channel. They see that Raw or SmackDown's on, and they're not going to keep it tuned when they see a guy. Like, seriously, if you're a person who hasn't been watching wrestling in years and you flip the channel and Sami Zayn is on cutting a promo, even if that promo is good, are you really going to stay tuned? I mean, people flipping the channel back in the day saw The Rock, this guy with sunglasses, this good-looking guy looking like $1 million with the fancy shirts. You're like, who the fuck is this guy? I gotta see who he is. So look at Sami Zayn, you're like, who the fuck is this schmuck? I'm turning this shit off. This shit's garbage. Used to be way better than it, back in the day. See my point? And number 2, matches are too fucking long! 20-minute matches. I remember when they had the fucking Evolution match going into overtime and they had like a 30-minute match. But that match had Triple H, Ric Flair, and a host of other like big stars. But that was like a surprise, and they did it because, well, it was just a surprise. Let's try something different here. But most of the time, matches would not go over 10 minutes. I mean, because it was like overkill. Plus, they were going to have long matches at the pay-per-view anyway. You were going to have your 15, 20-minute matches at the pay-per-view. Why the fuck would you need to have these big, long matches on TV? And back in the day, you would never have commercial breaks. In fact, I remember Raw used to take a couple more commercial breaks so the main event wouldn't be interrupted. Remember JR would say on commentary, we have taken our last commercial break. We're staying with this to the end. Now you have like every single match gets interrupted by a commercial. Michael Cole's like, oh, we'll see what happens after the break. And they go to commercial break during an Apollo Crews match, for fuck's sakes. Who the fuck is not going to flip the channel? Who's going to be like, wow, I got to stay tuned with this generic announcer is telling me to stay tuned for? Fuck out of here. These long-ass matches are just overbearing and overkill. At number one, they listen too much to the YWC, the IWC, and the live crowd. They have half-empty arenas, but they're still listening to them. The thing is, sometimes it's well warranted, like with Daniel Bryan, if it's across the country, but if it's only once in a while and they're listening to the internet, then get the fuck away from me. I mean, they listen to the crybabies about Enzo. You've got this guy, of course the Smarks are not going to like Enzo. They don't like, larger-than-life characters. I have seen people online that knock Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. It was a slow match. Failing to realize that it was probably two of the most over wrestlers at the time in a classic fucking match that had amazing build-up. And you're going to listen to these fucking knuckleheads, these goofy maloofis? For fuck's sakes. I mean, like, these are people that truly believe that Sami Zayn should be a world champion. I mean, and like, I can't stand these fucking people. I can't stand that WWE listens to these fucking people. That they think that, okay, once in a while they got it right with Zack Ryder and Daniel Bryan. But now the crowd has evolved even further. They have become the smarkiest of smarks, the most annoying, most overbearing people to date. These motherfuckers never shut the fuck up. And also, it's pretty obvious they used to love Enzo and Big Cass, and then they started booing them later on. Then, they've also lost interest in wrestlers like Sasha Banks and fuckboy Balor. They don't even care about these people anymore. When Balor said, the Balor Club, no one even fucking cheered barely. There was like maybe a couple of people over here that gave a fuck what he said. And these are the same people saying, make him world champion. And they did. And then you people don't even fucking care about him anymore. So stop listening to these fucking schmucks. And start putting people over the way you used to put them over. And start getting real stars out there, for fuck's sakes. Anyway, motherfuckers, I still want some ideas for some new lists. So if you could think of any ideas of what would make an entertaining list or a list, go ahead. Drop me a line in the fucking comments. This has been your YWC champ. Signing out.